Long ago in Ghana, there was a respected king named Bediako, celebrated for his kindness and strength. King Bediako was much loved by his people as he ruled with fairness and generosity, making his kingdom prosperous and peaceful. When it came time for the queen to give birth, King Bediako made a unique decision. He ordered that no one except the queen, the attending doctor, and Adoma, a servant he deeply trusted, could be present in the room. This was to ensure the safety and privacy of the royal birth. The child born was a girl named Boahemaa, meaning she was of great importance to the king and his lineage. From her birth, Boahemaa was kept out of the public eye, a mystery to the kingdom. Only her mother, the king, and Adoma were allowed to see her, creating a shroud of secrecy around her life. This isolation wasn't out of disdain, but perhaps out of an overprotective love or a strategic plan known only to King Bediako. The princess grew up away from the public's gaze, her existence almost like a well-guarded secret within the palace walls. Boahemaa's seclusion continued until she turned 18. It was then, in a grand ceremony, that she was finally introduced to the kingdom as a princess. At the ceremony where Boahemaa was to be crowned, people saw her as very unattractive, which made them laugh at both her and King Bediako. Back then, it was not acceptable for a princess to become the ruler unless a prince or the son of a princess. King Bediako, who had 3 wives, was very anxious to have a son who could be his successor, but he only had Boahemaa, whom people considered unattractive. He even attempted to have more children with other women in his service, hoping for a son or another daughter, but these attempts were unsuccessful. As a result, King Bediako found himself in a difficult position, with only Boahemaa as his child. This situation was challenging for the king because the customs of the time and the opinions of his people made it hard for him to see a clear path forward with Boahemaa as his only heir. The king's desperation and the public's harsh judgment of Boahemaa's looks created a tense atmosphere, highlighting the rigid traditions and expectations that dominated their society. Whenever Boahemaa went outside, people made fun of her, making her feel very sad. Her dad, King Bediako, tried to stop this by punishing those who laughed at her. However, he noticed that many people started leaving their home to avoid being punished. Realizing this, he stopped punishing them for mocking Boahemaa, his only daughter. In the kingdom ruled by Boahemaa's father, King Bediako, she faced great challenges. Despite her royal status, no one considered marrying her. Whenever she went outside, people would laugh at her appearance, which caused her deep pain. Boahemaa longed for genuine love, for someone to see beyond her looks and cherish her for who she was inside, but such a person seemed nowhere to be found. Boahemaa's predicament was not just her own sorrow, it deeply affected her father as well. King Bediako was heartbroken to see his daughter so unhappy and isolated. In his desperation to find her a companion who could look past her physical appearance, he made a grand announcement. He offered a vast reward and even promised to hand over a part of his kingdom to any man who would marry Boahemaa. However, this attempt to secure her happiness was futile. No suitors came forward, as the king's proposal seemed more like a transaction than a pathway to true love. Boahemaa felt that her father's approach was flawed. She believed that love, bought with money or power, was not love at all. She wanted a partner who would love her sincerely and wholeheartedly, not someone swayed by wealth or the lure of a kingdom. Disheartened by the lack of genuine interest in her as a person, she decided to take a bold step. Boahemaa resolved to leave her father's kingdom in search of someone who could offer her the authentic affection she yearned for. This decision was a heavy blow to her father. King Bediako was pained at the thought of his beloved daughter venturing into the unknown, away from the safety and comfort of her home. Yet he understood her need to seek a life where she could be valued and loved for her true self. With a heavy heart, he watched as Boahemaa, accompanied by her loyal and trusted servant, Auntie Adoma, left the kingdom. Boahemaa's departure was a significant moment, filled with hope and uncertainty. She stepped out of her familiar world, driven by the desire to find a place where she would be appreciated and loved unconditionally. Her journey was not just a physical relocation, but a quest for emotional fulfillment and the genuine connection that had eluded her in her father's realm. When Boahemaa and Auntie Adoma reached the new kingdom, they faced immediate hardship. Instead of revealing their true identities as a princess and her servant, they disguised themselves as a poor mother and daughter. This decision was made in hope that they would blend in and perhaps find the genuine acceptance Boahemaa longed for. However, their experience was far from welcoming. People judged them harshly based on appearances, particularly Boahemaa's, and no one was willing to offer them shelter or kindness. Their appearance, which Boahemaa had hoped would be irrelevant in this new place, continued to dictate how they were treated. As the day turned to night, with nowhere to go, they found themselves without any choice but to sleep in the open market square. It was a stark contrast to the royal life Boahemaa was accustomed to, and the cold, hard ground of the marketplace was a painful reminder of the world's superficiality and cruelty. The night brought a chill, both physical and emotional, as they lay exposed to the elements and the judgmental eyes of passers-by. However, in the midst of this bleak situation, a glimmer of hope appeared. A very handsome man, who was an orphan and worked as a farmer, noticed them. Moved by their plight, he approached with kindness and offered them a place to stay. He didn't question their appearances or their backgrounds, showing them an unconditional hospitality that was alien to Boahemaa's recent experiences. This act of kindness was a beacon of light in the darkness that had enveloped her life. That night they stayed with the farmer, who shared his humble abode without any expectation of return. The following morning, in the light of day and the warmth of the farmer's simple home, he inquired about their story, curious about what had led them to such a state and to his kingdom. Boahemaa and Auntie Adoma, while with Darkwah the farmer, chose not to reveal that she was a princess and her companion a royal servant. Instead, they shared that they fled their home due to the cruel treatment and judgment they faced, keeping their royal identities a secret. Darkwah, in turn, opened up about his own struggles. He had lost his parents and was familiar with the pain of being treated unfairly. This shared sense of understanding created a bond between them. Darkwah, despite being just a humble farmer, showed great kindness. He welcomed Boahemaa and Auntie Adoma into his small family home, which once belonged to his parents. His life was simple, but filled with the dignity of hard work. Each day, Darkwah would leave for the farm at dawn, and after a long day's work, he would return to cook for his guests. He never asked for any help or payment in return, providing shelter and food out of sheer goodwill. For 3 months, this routine continued, with Boahemaa and Auntie Adoma staying at home while Darkwah worked in the fields. Despite their royal background, they never once participated in the farming work. Darkwah's hospitality never wavered, and he continued to care for them without expecting anything in return. However, after 4 months, Boahemaa felt a growing desire to be more than just a passive recipient of Darkwah's generosity. She asked to join him at the farm, wanting to contribute and perhaps lessen the burden on their kind host. Initially, Darkwah refused, perhaps to preserve their dignity, or from a desire to protect them from the harsh realities of farm work. Persistence from Boahemaa and Auntie Adoma eventually swayed Darkwah, and they accompanied him to the farm for the first time. There, they witnessed firsthand the extent of Darkwah's hard work and dedication. The reality of farm life, with its demands and toil, was eye-opening for them. They saw how Darkwah, despite his humble means and gentle nature, worked tirelessly, cultivating the land with care and precision. Together, they spent the day working on the farm, sharing the workload, and experiencing the satisfaction of a hard day's work. This day marked a turning point in their relationship, deepening their mutual respect and understanding. As Darkwah and Boahemaa made their way back home from the farm, they became the target of ridicule from the onlookers. People jeered at them, calling Darkwah the orphan and Boahemaa the ugly monkey. Yet Darkwah showed immense strength of character by ignoring the cruel taunts. And Boahemaa, who had faced such harshness throughout her life, also paid no mind to the insults. Instead, they found solace and acceptance in each other's company, their bond deepening through the shared experience of disregard from the world. Despite the external scorn, something beautiful was blossoming between them. 9 months into their acquaintance, Darkwah, moved by genuine affection and respect for Boahemaa, chose a quiet and starry night to propose to her. It was a moment filled with emotion and sincerity. For Boahemaa, this proposal was a monumental event. Never before had she heard such heartfelt words directed at her with such love and honesty. Overwhelmed with emotion, she wept tears of happiness, feeling a deep connection with Darkwah that transcended her past pains and insecurities. It was a love that felt more profound and real than any storybook romance, a testament to their genuine feelings for each other. In the following months, their relationship grew stronger, marked by tender moments and a deep understanding of each other. Darkwah, feeling the need to formalize their bond, expressed his wish to meet Boahemaa's father. He wanted to ask for her hand in marriage, to show his commitment and love for her in the most honorable way. Boahemaa, still concealing her royal identity, questioned Darkwah about his intentions. She wondered why he would want to marry someone like her, whom the world saw as unattractive. Darkwah's response was a profound declaration of his love. He told her that his love was not based on outward appearances, but on the beautiful person she was inside. He spoke of how external beauty fades with time, but the beauty of the soul and the depth of true love remain eternal. He loved her for her essence, her spirit, and her heart, not for the physical image she presented to the world. Boahemaa was deeply moved by his words. They resonated with her innermost desires and healed the wounds of years of rejection and loneliness. She responded with equal sincerity, affirming her love for Darkwah, acknowledging that her feelings for him stemmed from a place of deep emotional connection and mutual respect. In a world that often judged them harshly, they found in each other a haven of understanding, acceptance, and unconditional love. Several months after their engagement, Boahemaa, alongside her servant Adoma and fiancé Darkwah, made the journey back to her homeland. Upon their arrival at the royal palace, Darkwah was taken aback by the lavish treatment and respect Boahemaa received. He was puzzled, having known her only as a commoner. His curiosity and confusion led him to question Boahemaa about the royal reception she was given. It was then that Boahemaa unveiled the truth to Darkwah. She revealed her identity as a princess and explained her decision to hide this fact to find someone who would love her genuinely, not for her title or appearance. Boahemaa confided in Darkwah that her search was for true love. a love that would accept her as she is, and joyfully she affirmed that she had found that love in him. Overcome with emotion, Darkwah wept, moved by her honesty and the depth of her feelings, and they shared a moment of deep connection and understanding. As preparations for the wedding commenced, the palace buzzed with activity. King Bediako announced the marriage of Princess Boahemaa to Darkwah, inviting royalty and dignitaries from neighboring lands to witness the union. On the day of the ceremony, as guests arrived, there was a mix of awe and derision. Some attendees sneered at Darkwah, mocking him for choosing to marry Boahemaa, whom they still perceived as ugly. However, amidst the murmurs and laughter, King Bediako stood to address the assembly. With the attention of the gathered crowd, the king began to narrate the story of his daughter and the journey that led to this day. King Bediako had a unique plan for his daughter, Princess Boahemaa. He wanted to find someone who would love her for her true self, not for her beauty, status, or his wealth. So, when Boahemaa was born, he decided to hide her real appearance behind a mask that made her look unattractive. This mask was designed to look like a human face, but one that did not show her real beauty. The king believed that only someone who could see beyond the mask's ugliness would be worthy of her love and the kingdom's future. For years, Boahemaa wore this mask, and only her closest confidants, her servant Adoma and her mother, knew the truth. They helped maintain the secret, ensuring that Boahemaa's true beauty remained hidden from the world. This way, the king hoped to protect his daughter from superficial judgments and find her a partner who valued her inner qualities above all else. As the king spoke, the mood shifted from mockery to reflection. As the guests began to understand the depth of the lesson woven into Boahemaa's life story, the revelation of her true identity and the purpose behind her concealment resonated with the audience, prompting them to reconsider their notions of beauty and worth. Darkwah loved Boahemaa without knowing she was a princess. He cared for her deeply, even though he thought she was not beautiful. During their wedding, the king decided it was time to show everyone Boahemaa's real face. A doctor took off the mask she had been wearing for years. When people saw her without the mask, they were amazed. Boahemaa was incredibly beautiful, much more than anyone in the kingdom had imagined. Her true beauty surprised everyone at the wedding. They regretted not recognizing her inner beauty and not wanting to marry her before. This moment taught everyone a valuable lesson about looking beyond appearances. The ceremony became more than a wedding. It was a moment of revelation and change, challenging societal norms and opening hearts to the essence of true love. Darkwah and Princess Boahemaa had a beautiful wedding, and later were blessed with 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, all of whom were very attractive and well-loved. As time passed, Darkwah's wisdom and kindness earned him a significant place in the kingdom. He became the chief advisor to King Bediako. His role was crucial, and he helped make many important decisions. Years went by, and eventually the king passed away. When this happened, Boahemaa and Darkwah's eldest son took over the throne. He was a good king, much like his grandfather, and he led the kingdom into a time of peace and prosperity. Darkwah was there for his son, guiding and supporting him in ruling the kingdom wisely. Meanwhile, Darkwah worked on something special. He remembered his roots and the struggles he faced as an orphan. So, he set up a trade bond between Boahemaa's kingdom and his birthplace. This bond brought prosperity to both places, and people were amazed. They saw how successful Darkwah had become, remembering the times when they had underestimated him because of his humble beginnings. This turn of events showed everyone the importance of not judging others based on their appearance or background. Darkwah, once a mocked orphan, had become a wealthy and respected man. His life story was a clear example that one should never judge a book by its cover. His journey from being an orphan to a revered figure in two kingdoms illustrated that with kindness, intelligence, and hard work, one could achieve great things and positively impact many lives. If you're enjoying the rich tapestry of stories and cultural journeys on an ant's web of tales, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating content. Your support means the world and helps to share these narratives far and wide. Also, we're always curious to know where our viewers are joining us from. Drop a comment and let us know your location. It's always a delight to see the diverse corners of the world our community comes from.